Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Rob of Rule of Two Review. Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to talk about a few updates to a few very hotly anticipated Nintendo Switch titles. So there are quite a few titles on the Nintendo Switch that many of us have been waiting for updates on. Whether it's a game that's already announced and revealed that we're hoping to find out details and release date info on, or if it's stuff that's honestly just been a rumor that we tend to maybe believe and very much want and are hoping to see it confirmed sometime soon. Two of those titles that fit that description would be Bayonetta 3 and then also Pikmin 3, potentially being ported from the Wii U over to the Nintendo Switch. Bayonetta 3 was announced many years ago at the Game Awards, and Pikmin 3 is a game that honestly most of us just think makes sense because Nintendo has ported several games from the Wii U over to the Nintendo Switch, and in pretty much every case has seen a lot of success. Earlier this year, Tokyo Mirage Sessions came over to the Switch, and to my knowledge, from a sales perspective, I think that game really hasn't been blowing it out of the water. I think most fans are enjoying the game for what it is, as far as the kind of definitive edition port that it is. But I do think it's maybe the only one that hasn't been a huge sales success. All of these other Wii U titles that have been ported have been very well received and definitely have sold well. So we do have some updates on both of these games, and I did want to discuss that a little bit. As far as the Pikmin 3 situation goes, this is actually something that broke last week, and so I'm pretty late to getting to the story, but things have been crazy. Lots of news going on and things to talk about on YouTube. My work life has been very busy as well, so this is just something that was a pretty big deal that I happen to not be able to get to right away. And this is literally the third story over the past, I think, 2 weeks at this point, maybe even 3 weeks, coming from Jeff Grubb at VentureBeat, discussing things about Nintendo Directs and Paper Mario and E3 and the future of the gaming industry in 2020, all sorts of things. And within all that, he had this very tiny little blurb in one of his articles about Paper Mario after that game was revealed that basically said Pikmin 3 is apparently just going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch soon. And there were no details, no information. He basically just states it. I mean, this is what he says right here. When discussing Paper Mario and Nintendo's business in 2020, he also adds this at the end of this article. He says, quote, "But Nintendo obviously has games in the works. Intelligent Systems only oversaw Tecmo Koei's production of Fire Emblem Three Houses because it was working on this. Other Nintendo studios will have games ready for release soon as well. That includes the 3D Mario remasters, but it should also include Pikmin 3 Deluxe." And that's it. That's all he says, you know, just kind of like the last story when I was talking about his Nintendo Direct comments. It's like these are very small blurbs, literally just random sentences thrown into larger articles with really no context or anything to back it up. Now, I do have to reiterate something that I have on the previous videos as well. I tend to believe this. It's been very frustrating here with Jeff Grubb's information because he's putting out stuff that absolutely makes sense and that I really kind of believe. But he's not really backing it up with anything. He's not saying, I've talked to this or that person that has told me this. I don't have any inside sources. And in this case, he literally just says, oh, it should also include Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Not so much that he's heard that it's going to be real. He's just saying it should because I guess logically it makes sense to him. And I guess I don't even have a problem with that. I just wish that he maybe framed it around the idea that he just logically expects Pikmin 3. Instead, he's kind of throwing it in there in a way that makes it sound like he knows something, but doesn't really give any sort of context to how he knows it. And so I find it kind of funny, but I do want to step away from focusing too much on what he knows or doesn't know, because it does certainly seem like there's something to this. And Pikmin 3 has been one of the games from the Wii U that most of us have been waiting for a long time. Of course, what we really want is a Pikmin 4, but that's a whole different ball of wax and way too complicated to get into right now. As far as Pikmin 3, I'm just ready for it. I've mentioned several times recently how Pikmin 3 was the game that converted me to a huge Pikmin fan. I thought the first one was really good and kind of fun on the GameCube. I barely really played the second one, so I thought that the two games were just fine, like fun, but fine. And then Pikmin 3 came along on the Wii U, and I was very excited for it, and by the time I finally got it and played it, I was floored. I'll be honest with you guys, it just blew me away. Something about that game, the way it looked, the way it sounded, the way it felt and played. I loved using the gamepad and the Wii Remote at the same time and having this real-time map system that I was also using the Wii Remote to be so accurate with throwing Pikmin. It just was like a euphoric experience, you guys. Loved everything about it. And so when we think about Pikmin 3 coming to the Switch, it is very exciting because I think a game like Pikmin, a real Pikmin game, makes a lot of sense portably. I'm not talking Hey Pikmin, I mean like a real Pikmin game portably is a very exciting prospect. The trouble is, with Pikmin 3, we're not going to be able to get the dual screen experience that the Wii U did so well on the Switch, and that does make me sad. Yes, we can get kind of like a Wii U or a Wii Remote pointer control emulation with the Joy-Cons, and that's cool, but we're not going to be able to do it at the same time that we also have like a secondary mini-map like in our hands, the way the gamepad did. It was just so great, and we're going to lose that. It's going to almost honestly be a downgrade. Even if it's got the DLC content and better graphics, I think it'll be a little bit of a downgrade in terms of how it plays. But overall, it's fine, and I still think it would be a huge hit on the Switch. And so will we see it this year the way Jeff Grubb is stating? I mean, tough to say, but like I've already stated several times even in this video, yeah, I believe this. I really do believe that Pikmin 3 is going to be coming soon. It makes too much sense. He mentions the 3D Mario remasters, which we've talked about, a very big story from a couple of months ago. And within that, 3D World from the Wii U was included. So when he says the 3D Mario remasters and Pikmin 3, I think he's including, you know, Mario 3D World from the Wii U as well as Pikmin 3 from the Wii U on top of the other 3D Mario games. So it's really just this mishmash of like 4 or 5 old games from prior generations getting ported over to the Switch. Several Mario games, 3D World from the Wii U, and Pikmin 3 from the Wii U, right? That's a lot of old games coming to the Switch this year. And they're great games. And we love these games, and I'm sure most of us, you know, we're suckers for this, so a lot of us are going to buy them because these remasters sound exciting. But it's interesting that so many of these titles that we're seeing for the Switch in 2020 seem to be last-gen ports. From the Wii, the Wii U, the Nintendo 64, you know, it's crazy. So as far as Bayonetta 3 goes, it's kind of funny because I wasn't initially going to talk about Bayonetta 3 in this video, it was just going to be about Pikmin. But literally this morning, before I started recording this video, a little bit of an update did come out from Hideki Kamiya at Platinum Games about the status of Bayonetta 3 that I thought was interesting, and I wanted to throw it in at the end of this video. So apparently Hideki Kamiya was being interviewed by VGC, Video Games Chronicle, and he was asked about Bayonetta 3 and the status and what was going on, because to be fair, Bayonetta 3, man, that's a game we're just so ready for. Why has it taken so long? Not only for the game to release, it's not so much about the release of the game, it's kind of just about an update. Like, we saw the game announced back in late 2017 at the Game Awards. They gave us a little CG teaser trailer that had nothing going for it. And here we are, you know, 2.5 coming up on 3 years later. And we haven't even seen, like, gameplay or an official trailer or anything. That game has gone so dark. And it's unfortunate. I think it's gone too dark. Like, these game companies sometimes, you don't have to be so afraid to show us what's going on or the status of your game or give us a little bit of an update. I mean, usually that's better than nothing. And so that's what's been going on with Bayonetta 3. Nothing. And apparently through that, many people have jumped to a crazy conclusion of maybe worrying that the game was canceled, which to me makes no sense. I guess that's the case. And so Kamiya actually addressed that in this interview. Here's what he had to say. I'm on Twitter, so I see a lot of comments every day. I'm happy that there's still anticipation for the title, but one thing I would like to address is the trend I'm seeing, which is people who are starting to ask if the game has been canceled. I want you guys to take any concerns you have like that and throw them out the window immediately, because we're still hard at work on it and it hasn't been canceled by any means. Please look forward to it. I find the whole situation very interesting, and I was commenting on it on Twitter this morning, how I think it's crazy that people thought that Bayonetta 3 was canceled. I mean, so much so to the point that Kamiya had to literally address the fact that people have been talking about it. And he was like, hey, stop that. What are you doing? Don't be crazy. We're busting our butts on this game is essentially what he's saying here. And so just wait and be excited, and you're going to see it soon. So I do appreciate that he said that. I mean, you know, like I said here, I think it's been too long since we've seen or heard from that game, to be fair. I don't know why it's taken so long for them to just address it at all, or show us anything. I mean, even just to frickin' talk about it. In fact, I think this is the first time anyone from Platinum has talked about it since the game was frickin' announced. And so, to a degree, I understand people's fervor for the game. I mean, I'm right there with you. I think Bayonetta 2 is like a perfect 10. I love that game. Well, not a perfect 10, because as I've said, a game I don't think can be perfect, but I think it's a 10 out of 10. I love Bayonetta 2. They have a huge task in trying to follow that game up, so I know that they're busting their asses to make this game great, and I know it's going to be great. And so I just think people need to calm down. Like, I get it, you know, like I said, I think they've waited too long to show us anything about the game, but in no way, shape, or form have I been worrying that the game is canceled, and I just find it kind of hilarious that some people jump to that conclusion. So I think we can take it on good faith that Bayonetta 3 is coming along just fine. It's going to be great. We're going to see it soon. In fact, if I had to put money on it, I think that we will see Bayonetta 3 before the end of the year. I don't necessarily think we'll be playing it. There's a chance we will, but I'm more than positive that we're going to see that game, hear an update, maybe get a trailer and a release date before the year is over. Could we play it before the end of the year? Yes, it seems like an ideal 2020 release. But even if we don't, it could very well be like a Q1 2021 release, in which case I think we'll probably see it sometime this fall, if that's the case. So it'll be really exciting and really great to finally get an update on that game. And as far as Pikmin 3 goes, it'll be really great to actually see if that game is real, you know? Like, we want Pikmin. We'd prefer Pikmin 4. I think I speak for most of us, right, when I say we'd rather have Pikmin 4. But if you're going to do Pikmin 3 and port it over to the Switch, we're ready for that too. Maybe throw in some extra content. That would actually be really nice. And I would love to see what they're going to do with the controls on that game. That's my real big question there. So anyway, just a couple of updates to these two games, you know, Pikmin 3, Bayonetta 3, what's going on? Are we going to see them this year? Who knows? But right now, it seems like everything is on track for both of those games. So that's what's going on. Those are my thoughts and opinions. What do you think? How excited are you for these games? Do you think we'll see them this year or not? Whatever you think, talk about it below. And with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of Two Review, and I'll catch you next time on another video.